Guffey Proctor here. Good morning, Facebook, everybody. I am out of the hospital, and I had a bout of pancreatitis, which I don't know how it happened. I think it could happen to anybody, though, as far as I know. Introductions of toxins early on in life or whatever can trigger this, or it can just happen. I haven't drank for quite a while, or been a consistent drinker for even longer. But I don't smoke cigarettes either. I mean, cannabis is an exception. I try to vape that more than anything. But yeah, pancreatitis was no joke. That was the worst experience, worst pain I've ever been in my life. Hands down. My hair is fucking bedhead wild. But I decided, I made some decisions, and my diet's going to change pretty drastically. I've gone vegan before, but more so for, less for health reasons and more so for, the environmental impact, stuff like that. But the big thing that gets me, and, oh man, I got to shave too. I'm just going. I crawled out of a dumpster today to go on YouTube, for the whole fucking world. I changed because my diet, it hasn't been good for a while. I'm not eating. I don't overeat. I mean, that was something I think I did when I was younger. It was a real problem. I don't overeat now. And I don't actually, if anything, I'm undereating. Cat just has to get in the way. Come on. What are you doing, bud? Love you too. I haven't been eating well, but what I have been eating hasn't been much. So it's not a lot. And what I am eating isn't good. I'm sure that probably all adds to it. So I'm trying to make some changes, and not just to go to vegan, because you can eat pretty unhealthy as vegan, believe me. Oreos are vegan, and they are probably the least thing from healthy. But I was pretty strict vegan last time. I think I'm going to go a little lax, because I really think that there's a lot of veganism out there where it's like, if you don't follow the rules, everything down to the line, and avoid casein in all of your foods, then you're some awful fucking person. I just don't believe in the all or nothing thing. And I think the easier way to get people to stop eating animals is instead of trying to, beat them over the head with the science and all of the things that state that it's bad for you, it's just easier to, change things on your own, let people find out things on their own, and not be super, dogmatic about it. I mean, veganism is one of those things for me it's been an off and on. When I met my wife, I was not a vegetarian, never even considered being a vegetarian. I, of course, met her and all of her perspectives, and she changed my life, undoubtedly. And my thoughts on consuming animals. I mean, somewhat. I still believe that there's a certain amount of waste, and the waste is going to be perpetuated whether we eat it or not. The meat industry is always produce more waste, but they're also not going to waste tons of money. So there is both sides to the impact. You consume less, they're going to make less, but they're always going to make more than they need, and most of that gets in the trash. So when I eat food or I eat animals, because that's it. I mean, you're eating other living beings, just like you're eating plants, just like you're eating anything else. But that animal is packaged for you ahead of time. You don't have to see the pain and suffering it goes through before you consume it. And that's been my problem with eating meat and all that. I fucking love bacon cheeseburgers like it's my job, man. I can't, but I can't eat them anymore. My body just cannot handle that type of food. And to be fair, I stopped eating meat consistently when I was like 28 and actually it was like 26 or 28. Shortly after I met Kayla, actually a year or two after I met Kayla, I changed a lot of the ways I was eating food, because she was right. And there's a lot of things that I think that we think about meat and the dairy industry that are necessary. And the only reason we think that is because of the propaganda that they've been pushing for the last 40 years, because of their subsidies and the need for that farming industry. And it's like any other farming industry. The reason why marijuana was made prohibited was because it was impacting the logging industry. And there's just lots of lobbyists that make laws. It's not the legislators, in my opinion. It's the people that go in, they're knocking on the door and handing out money like it's, free. And to them, maybe it is because they're lobbyists and they get to just toss around money like it's nobody's business. But what happens is you get caught in this awful construct in which you're telling people that dairy is so necessary for consumption and that you can consume more calcium through dairy, and the facts are it is the opposite of that. It's actually bad for certain genomes, certain like the African genes and stuff. So people who are black or African American have these genes can be impacted. They may actually not be able to consume dairy the same way other people can. And I think that goes across the board depending on blood type, and in nationality, where you're from, what you're. I think it varies for each person, right? Some people have lactose intolerance, and I think these are all signs that we weren't meant to consume dairy past a certain age, like milk. Because it's good for sustenance for a short amount of time, but there's also lots of fats and stuff that we end up not absorbing as we get older. But also, this is pasteurized dairy. This is not the same thing, and it's coming from another creature that we aren't, right? So the facts for me are pretty simple. If I don't change my diet, I'm going to continue having events like this. I'm pretty sure. They didn't tell me that these are all things that I've come to conclusions on my own, that it can only be attributed to my eating trans fats or French fries or McDonald's or whatever it is that's caused me to get here. I'm documenting my struggles going through, avoiding meat, and cheese and dairy. As it is, I have it in my refrigerator right now. And it's, yeah, I mean, I get it mostly for Gavin, and he's always had the option, given my son the ability to choose, do you want to consume meat? If you don't want to consume it, you don't have to. I'm not going to bring it in the house, but if you want to eat it, you can. And he's battled with it. He went to like, I want to eat chicken nuggets, but then he realizes after he's got his own decision making. I'm not making any of the cognitive decisions for him. I'm just telling him this is what it is. This is where it comes from, and they're not treated the fairest. The animals are really mistreated in a lot of places. Some places are better at it than others, but you just can't know who's feeding you the bullshit, who's telling you the truth nowadays. So. You can do your best to try to find out by research, but you're always going off of the fact that an animal is suffering for your need to consume it. And do you need to consume it? And the fact really comes down to is animal products for every human being. And although every human being is different, I understand people have iron deficiencies and stuff like that. But you can get your iron somewhere else. Blood, there's no factual evidence to say that blood iron, you can only get iron from red meat or now. It may be easier to transmit, may be able to absorb that iron from blood or animal meat or animal products than it is from beets and kale, but there are other sources that produce iron, and as long as you're taking supplements and you're overdoing it on the iron, a lot of times you keep that charged in your body. When I say overdo it with plants, it's a little bit easier to overdo it with plants than it is when you could really overdo it with iron, but I think it would take a lot. And most of the time it would be with meat eating, because your body doesn't absorb iron as well through plants as it does from meat. And that's where the common misconception that meat is better for you than plants, or that you need to consume meat, and if you don't, you're going to be weak. Because I stayed 300 something pounds, and I had felt the healthiest I ever was eating vegan junk food and all that stuff. But I'm trying to eat healthy now. So my goal has been juice fasting. Because I fasted for so long at the hospital, it's really kind of recalibrated my stomach and my ability to absorb foods and all that stuff. So why not take advantage of that? And why not, I didn't have to go through the hard part without IVs and stuff. I was being fed through an IV sugar and stuff while they're dealing with the pancreas. Now, like, I can just not eat and I'm okay with it. I'm still, my body probably wants to consume more, so I had some of those Ensure drinks for a while. But the dairy fat in those are really problematic for me without having a gallbladder and not having a pancreatitis issue. Because if you don't have a gallbladder to filter out a lot of that bile has no storage. It gets pushed through your waste system the same way everybody else would push through your waste system. The problem with bile is it's fucking terrible. It's disgusting. And you just produce a lot of it when you eat meat and cheese and products like that because it exists, especially in dairy and meat. It is a good majority of that is bile. It's disgusting. Animal products really aren't great for your body, and they may taste fucking fantastic. I'm no delusions about that, and it makes it harder and harder all the time. But as we learn more and more about our teeth and the fact that we only have few carnivorous factors, most of it's plant grinding, find that most of us are omnivores and that we've only been pushed to the brink several times as human beings where we had to eat meat. And that's why our bodies are designed to cook it first. We can't just eat it raw. Like some animals can do that, and some animal omnivores can eat raw meat and have the gut biome in their bacteria, in their gut, the biome bacteria in their gut to solve that problem. We don't, we have to cook it. And that's just another proof that we're not made to consume animal products at the rate that we are. I don't think that it's bad that we consume animal products, and I'm not an all or nothing person, so I don't want anybody to take anything from that. I don't blame people for what they're doing or not, but I do think this massive consumption, if everybody would just change their habits, it could change the whole planet. I really think this entire COVID-19 thing has changed the entire planet, and the way people are looking things and thinking things, I think has just shocked the system. And now it's our time to take advantage of these changes. Spend time with your family. Use this to really emphasize the need for UBI, how lifestyle changes, being present where it matters. The whole time I was in the hospital, I was just thinking, what happens if I get it from being in the hospital? And I still could. I might have it, maybe asymptomatic. I've been in the hospital for a week and a half. I don't have any of those symptoms, and I feel pretty fucking lucky. But what if I have it? What if I die from it? Like I have a 9-year-old and he's all by himself. It's just me and him. And that's the most terrifying thing as a parent, is to think about, what if I'm not there for my kid? What if I'm not there tomorrow to teach him all these lessons, about why I'm not eating animal products, about life, about riding a bike, any of that stuff. Like, our health comes first. And I do think there's a way to eat meat and be healthy, but I really don't think that it's the norm. And for me, I just need to abstain from it for a while. I might, break here and there, but I'm not going to beat myself up about it and then go on a cheeseburger roller coaster after either. That's the problem, is that people are so all or nothing, swing from one edge to the other. And then if they can't completely do the abstaining from meat, then they just cave. And when they cave, it's like falling off the bandwagon hard, right? They go right back in. They start eating cheeseburgers, probably get sick right away. Like, I think that the best thing that you can do is just try to be positive and focused. And when you mess up, like when I mess up, I'm gonna eat animal products. It's gonna happen. I just try to outweigh it with the juice smoothies and stuff. So I'm trying to start the juice smoothie thing to get the ball rolling with fast